Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Giggity. Real name is Mark. And in today's video, we're going to be ranking all 34 Black Ops 4 maps, multiplayer maps, from worst to best. This is part, I want to say, 5 to our multi-part series where we're ranking every map from every Call of Duty game. We ranked Black Ops 6, then we did Black Ops 2, and then we did Modern Warfare 3 2023. And now we're on to this one. So maybe this actually is... No, because we did Ghosts as well. Yeah, we did Call of Duty Ghosts, Modern Warfare. Yeah, so this is part 5. Where we're ranking all the maps. Obviously, this is all based on personal opinion, and I don't really, honestly, know much about the DLC maps in this game because I really didn't play them that much. I pretty much just played the base game, and then after that, after the DLC came out, I kind of stopped playing it. However, I did go back and play against bots just to refresh my memory. And so I have an understanding of how all these maps play and everything like that, but obviously not the best understanding. But I'm mainly basing it on like vibes and how they play anyways, so it's not that big a deal. It's not like I'm a professional player ranking it on like a competitive sense or anything like that. So I hope that doesn't really bother you guys too much. Also, for those who are curious, I mainly just camo grinded on this game. I wanted dark matter really bad in this game. Dark matter was really cool in this game, so I camo grinded all the time until I got dark matter. And so that's kind of like the play style I had, was just camo grinding. So I hope that doesn't affect the ranking that much for you guys, but that's my thoughts on it. Finally, also, we are going to be splitting this up into 6 tiers: the awful tier, the bad tier, the mediocre tier, the good tier, the amazing tier, and the best tier. Song of the day is called Nights Like This by the Kid Laroi. I don't even know what you would classify this song as. It's like hip-hop, pop, rap. I don't know. It could be country for all I know. All I know is that it's a good song, my friend. Go give it a listen if you like the Kid Laroi. I don't know what else to say. It's a good song. It's a good song for like driving around at nighttime. I know it's random, but you'll know it once you listen to it. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get right into it with number 34, my least favorite map in Black Ops 4. And that is Arsenal Sandstorm. Hey, do you like the map Arsenal? Okay, would you like to not see on that map? Oh, you wouldn't? Well, too bad. Here's Arsenal Sandstorm. That's pretty much what they decided to do with this map. You're just running around, can't see. Like that's pretty much it. There's a sandstorm going on Arsenal, and Arsenal, I actually think, is one of the better maps of this game. Spoiler alert, but it's actually really high on my list. But you give it a sandstorm and you just make it so that you literally cannot see where you're going. Now it's the worst map in the game because you cannot see. Like, it's impossible to see. Coming in at 33rd place isn't much better. Hacienda Twilight. Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same thing. You can see better for sure, and at least like the enemies have like glowing red parts on their body most of the time, so you can see that too, which is obviously a lot better. But you still are gonna, be straining those eyeballs, friend. If you don't have glasses already, chances are you will at the end of one single match of Hacienda Twilight, because it's still gonna be pretty freaking hard to see. All these like different versions of base game maps that they added into the game are pretty freaking horrible, and I would rather just not play on them. As a matter of fact, coming in at 32nd is going to Jungle Flooded. Jungle wasn't a base game map, actually. It was a DLC map, but they added it in later on in the game. Obviously, Jungle is just a Black Ops 1 map that was remastered or redesigned, I guess you can say, for Black Ops 4. But then they also added a flooded version of it where the entire bottom part of the map is just water for some freaking reason. Like, nobody even went down in the bottom part of the map for the most part anyways, but at least it was a way to like get away from enemies and like maybe cut off some line of sights sometimes, or get up behind them. But now with the ideas of having it absolutely be flooded, that's just not an option really, because they'll just shoot you in the water, and it's so frustrating. At least you can see on this map though. It is better than the other two that you cannot see on. 31st place, barely missing out in the top 30, is going to Firing Range Night. For those who don't know what this map is, I'm gonna give you 2 seconds to guess what it is based off of its name. 1, 2. It's firing range, but at night. It's just as hard to not see in it as Hacienda, but the good part is it's firing range. Like, that's the only reason why it's higher than the Hacienda one, because at least it's firing range. Like, firing range is a good map, but it's mainly a good map because you can see most of the time. Again, the nighttime maps on this game aren't impossible to see though, so I will give it that. Like, you still can see the enemies. It's just a lot harder than before. But it's still like, I just don't get the point of these maps. But coming in at 30th place in the final one for the awful tier, before we get into the bad tier, is Contraband Hurricane. Contraband isn't the best base game map for sure. However, the hurricane effect is nowhere near as bad as Sandstorm or the nighttime effect. The hurricane effect is at least, somewhat playable, and it actually kind of adds to the map a little bit. Having a seas, like a shoreline style map, and there's a hurricane going on it the whole entire time. That's, It kind of adds to the atmosphere. It kind of brings something to a map that's otherwise a little bit boring, if I'm being honest. And so I don't really mind the hurricane aspect, but again, I would just much rather just play on the freaking base map. And coming in at the number 29 spot, however, is the first true map of this game that isn't just like a horrible death-defying version of another map. Lockup. Lockup is a map that's based on a prison, I guess, but not even it's more like a police station. Yeah, I think it's more like a police station if I had to guess. Actually, that makes more sense. Like I said, this is one of the maps that I actually never really got to play in its prime, so all I was doing was playing it with bots when I went back and played it again, and it was okay, is pretty much the best way I can describe it. It was not in my opinion, it just doesn't separate itself from anything else. Like a police station on paper sounds kind of cool, but then like you're going through it and it's just not that fun, man. It's just really, compared to like the rest of the maps in this game, it's really boring. Like I'd rather play any other one. 28th place is actually another remaster from Black Ops 1, Launch. Launch from Black Ops 1 is actually a pretty good map. Most people enjoy Launch. I did too. But it wasn't my favorite map in Black Ops 1. I don't really understand why this was one of the maps that they decided to bring back, but either way, they did. And when they brought it back, they decided to make it nighttime. Is it as hard to see on something like Hacienda Twilight or Firing Range Night? No, it's definitely a little bit easier, but I don't understand why they had to make it nighttime in the first place. They could have just kept it daytime. Like, what is going on with the developers of this game? Do they have a fetish for night? 27th place, however, is going to, in my opinion, just one of the most boring maps ever. Remnant. What is this map supposed to be based on? Like an arcade? I don't understand what this map is supposed to be based off of. It's so weird. A mall, maybe I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be based off of, but it's not, in my opinion, it's just not that fun. It just doesn't play that well. On top of that, it's really freaking big, actually. Bigger than you probably remember it being. It was a very large map. And for a DLC map, at least it was original. I'll give it that. Like, this game, you know, brought back a lot of Black Ops 1 maps, which in my opinion is kind of lazy, but it's okay at the same time. But it wasn't fun. I just wish I never made it. And coming in at 26th place is going to Morocco. Morocco is one of the maps that I had to go back and play for the, I'm pretty sure for the first time with bots, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this map, man. When I was just playing with bots, so keep that in mind. But it just didn't play that well, and on top of that, it's this whole sand idea for maps is never that fun. And then maps like this that are set in like Middle Eastern countries, or like even sometimes they're set in Spanish countries like Rio and Favela, where the entirety of the map is like alleyways and there's not that many like long range gunfights. It's always kind of annoying because it just gives shotgun players a reason to absolutely demolish, and SMG players another reason to demolish. They already demolish on most maps, and then you get them in close range combat and it's even easier for them. Coming in at 25th place, however, is going to be going to Casino. Casino is just a little bit too large, in my opinion. It's not way too large to the point where it's not going to be like a fun map. Luckily, that's the one thing I will give Black Ops 4 some credit for, is the majority of the maps in this game are still going to be a little bit fun. But Casino is just very, very little bit too large. And then on top of that, when you're outside the casino in the spawn areas, it's really hard to see, actually. Going inside is okay because for the most part, it's lit up and everything like that. But the rest of it is just a little bit too dark outside of it. It fits the vibes of like a casino well, I'll give it that. And it kind of reminds me of the Dead of the Night like zombies map, but I do think it's just a little bit too large yet again. Coming in at 24th place is finally just an original like launch map of this game, because it's going to Icebreaker. Icebreaker was, in my opinion, just not it. the two left and right lanes are like literally head glitchers paradise. People will hold down lanes on the left and right side and just absolutely demolish the rest of the field. And then going into the middle is also not that fun because it's it's an icebreaker ship that's like kind of been beached, I guess you can say, and it just doesn't really have that much like room to like move around. It's very, very close quarter combat, hallways and stuff like that, and it can be a little bit frustrating. Icebreaker for a snow map is one of the weaker ones, especially like one of their spawns is like the entire freaking football field. I feel like I'm the Kansas City Chiefs when I'm in their spawn sometimes, because they're just so large for no reason. Coming in at 23rd place, however, is going to Payload. Yet again, another like launch map of this game. Surprise, surprise, it's actually not horrible. It's not abysmal. It is a little frustrating, but it's not abysmal. The entire left side, every time I say like left side, right side, I understand that you guys aren't thinking it from my point of view. That's why I try to describe it, where it's like the bridge and you can take the rappel up into the building. That side of the map feels kind of useless, if I'm being honest. And then the right side of the map, that's like the bigger open area that leads down into the building, is okay, it's actually a lot of fun. I don't like the middle of the building though. The middle of the building, that long hallway, and then like the 2 vantage points on the top of it, does kind of feel like if somebody manages to, you know, lock it down up there, they're just gonna be able to spawn trap you for the rest of the game, which is unfortunate. 22nd is going to actually the first map I ever played on Black Ops 4, Seaside Sunset. Not really the first one though, it was Seaside, the first one that I played, but Seaside Sunset, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's a sunset version of Seaside. This is the only one of those maps where it's like a different weather version of another map. That's okay, because playing in a sunset isn't dark, isn't too dark, and it's actually kind of pretty, if I'm being honest. But again, I really just don't understand the point of them putting effort into making maps like this, so that's why I'm ranking it 1 spot lower than the regular Seaside. Speaking of which, coming in at 21st place is the original Seaside, and it's the last one for the bad tier before we get into the average tier, by the way. Yeah, the original Seaside is okay. It doesn't, I don't like its size. I think its size is just a little bit too large, and then there's really no areas for people to get into like longer range gunfights on this map. It's another one that's very, very close quarters, I feel like, but it was decent. I kind of hate, if I'm being honest, where the B flag is. I understand that almost every B flag is kind of in the middle of the map, and that's kind of the whole point of a B flag, but it just kind of frustrated me. Every time that you were at Seaside, on top of that, whoever spawned on the side with the church, and they got into that church window, pretty much just had dominance over the entire B flag. All right, but now you're into the average tier. So maps in this tier are pretty average for the game, and honestly, overall, I feel like they're pretty average for just the, like, all of Call of Duty maps. Like Black Ops 4 really didn't have that many bad, awful maps. Like, even the maps in the bad tier aren't horrible, like, especially when you compare them to like Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare 2 or whatever. But either way, 20th place is Madagascar. Madagascar is just it's just kind of forgettable. Like, the fact that this even existed was wiped from my memory. When I went to go play it again with bots, I do remember playing on it, so I must have played the game when this map was launched, I guess. But again, it's just such an average map in terms of all the other ones in this game. Coming in at 19th place is going to Jungle. Jungle is obviously a very iconic map from Black Ops 1, and it was fun in Black Ops 1 for sure, but I never really thought of it as like my favorite map in that game. I just thought the setting was cool, like fighting in a Vietnam jungle was pretty cool. And in Black Ops 4, they brought it back, and I wasn't happy, I wasn't mad about it or anything. It was okay. It was just pretty okay map to play on. I didn't really love it. I didn't really hate it. Jungle Flooded, that one I did hate though. I'm still mad about that idea. Coming in at 18th place is a map that they absolutely nailed the design on, but then it doesn't play that well. Lair. If this map played better, if it was, in my opinion, just slightly smaller, I think this map would be a lot higher, because the idea was so cool, like a superhero's lair with all these like superhero gadgets all throughout the map. That's freaking cool. Looking at some of the gadgets that Black Ops came up with and put in the map is awesome as well. It was just a pretty freaking cool design for a map. But then, like I said before, the map ended up playing pretty, unfortunately, pretty poorly. Coming in at 17th place, and the final one for the average tier before we get into the good tier. Like I said, there's not that many like average maps in this game. There's just a lot of good maps in this game. So there's only 4 in the average tier, but it's called Gridlock. Gridlock is another base game map that was added in, you know, right at the start of the game, and it was fine. I never really had a problem with Gridlock. That's the problem with all these Black Ops 4 maps, is they were just like okay. I will say the design choices for Gridlock is just kind of boring. It's just another one of those like city streets with like a burning bus in the middle for God knows what reason. Poor buses. Every Call of Duty game has at least like one map where a bus just got blown to smithereens for God knows what reason. Apparently soldiers hate buses. But yeah, it's just another like kind of boring basic style map, but it plays okay. It is a little bit too large on the entire left side though. I think the left side could have been cut down. Okay, but now we are into the good tier. So maps in this tier are relatively, overall, in the grand scheme of Call of Duty maps, pretty good. Like, if this map comes up in rotation, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to play it and have a good time. And coming in at 16th place is Elevation. Elevation is based on, like, I want to say, like, I don't know, I could be horrendously wrong, like a Buddhist temple. I'm not a religious guy at all. I don't understand anything about religion, so I'm sorry if that's incorrect. But yeah, it's based off of some sort of temple. The design is awesome. It reminds me of Far Cry 4. It gives me so many Far Cry 4 vibes, and Far Cry 4 was an awesome game. The design is so cool. It's bright. It's on top of this like snowy mountain, and it's just all these cool little temples to go in and out of. It plays okay. I'm pretty sure it's a World at War remaster, like a World at War remake, if I'm not mistaken, which is an okay design choice. But overall, the design choice is what really carries Elevation. Coming in at 15th place is going to Militia. I'm pretty freaking sure that Black Ops 4 just went to Far Cry's like studios and got designs from them, because Militia is based on like a cult like encampment, and it reminds me a lot of Far Cry 5, just like how Elevation reminds me of Far Cry 4. This one reminds me of Far Cry 5. Like I said, it's just like a cult camp thing, and it's plays pretty okay. The entire middle of the map is surprisingly, it's one of those maps where like there's very few of them in Call of Duty history, but this is one of them where the entire middle of the map is like not used like at all. Everybody just uses all the flanks all the time, because the entire middle is like down low and in this like weird ravine that's just kind of useless. I hate it. Coming in at 14th place is going to Masquerade. This is one of the ones where I didn't play it when it came out, so I went back and played it with bots, and this was my first time ever playing the map. And I'm just going to ask a quick question. What is this map supposed to be based off of again? Because, like, is it supposed to be like a water park? I have absolutely zero clue. Like, I honestly don't know what this map is supposed to be based off of. I think it's a remastered map, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it is, at least. And it has, like, these weird, like, dolphins and snail, like, colorful creatures, like, randomly thrown about the map. I don't really get it. On top of that, it's a very wide open map. There's not that many like buildings to go into and everything, which is okay. It plays fun. It is a fun map, but I just am so confused at what the design choice was. Coming in at 13th place, however, is going to go to an original base game map yet again, Contraband. Contraband is a map set on like the shore of a of a town, I guess you can call it. I don't know why it's called Contraband, because I'm trying to think of it. I can't remember any like drugs or anything going on in Contraband. I don't know why it's called that. Either way, it's a pretty fun map. I like the middle lane, the bridge. The bridge is a fun little bridge. It's a fun bridge. That's a good bridge. Good bridge, Call of Duty. Good bridge. And the sniper battles that you'll get into on the bridge are really fun. The entire beach part of the map, I do feel like is kind of annoying to go that way. It's not that fun because people can just get into these power positions and just absolutely cut off any flanks that way. But the other way to flank is a lot of fun to flank, because it just you get into like close quarter combat things, and it's good. But coming in at 12th place, however, is going to Der Schatten. Okay, I don't know if Schat means the same, or Schat, I should say, means the same in German as it does in American, but that's a hilarious name if it does. Either way, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be based off of the Der Reisendrache Zombies map from Black Ops 3, which is really, really weird to make a multiplayer map out of it, but somehow it actually ended up working a little bit. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know 100%, because when I was looking up research on these maps, there was people talking about Der Eisendrache for some reason, so that's why I'm saying that. I could be horribly wrong. Going back and playing it, it's okay. The only downside to Der Schatten is, yet again, it is a slightly too dark. I don't know what it is with Black Ops 4, but they love dark maps. They like it for you to just not be able to see your enemies sometimes. It's not that dark. It's not as bad as like the Hacienda Twilight or anything like that, but it's a little dark. But coming in at 11th place, and the final one for the good tier before we get into the amazing tier, is going to Artifact. Artifact is, I don't know what it's supposed to be, if I'm being honest. It's like a random mountain with like a dig site in it. I guess there was probably an artifact at that dig site. There's some like weird train. I want to say it's a train going over the entire map. But it plays kind of fun. It kind of reminds you of like something like a Battlefield 4 map. It's also relatively small, which is obviously always good. Playing on small maps, in my opinion, is very fun, at least. And the map has a lot of different elevation parts of the map too, which actually gives the map a nice little touch. I think it's a good map, but I don't think it's an amazing map. Okay, but now we are into the amazing tier. So maps in this tier are just straight up amazing. I like playing on them. 10th place, breaking its way into the top 10, is Hacienda, the original Hacienda. Yeah, I like Hacienda. I think it's just an overall well-designed map. The bottom part of the like actual building there is pretty much useless. It's like the courtyard there. Nobody goes that way. But every other part of the map is pretty fun. On top of that, the water on the other side is an incredible flanking route. Like if there's like a whole war going on over there, which sometimes there is, especially in Search and Destroy, because that's exactly where one of the bombs is right on that flank. So if you go in the water and get up behind them, it can be so much fun. It takes a while, but it's a good commitment. Hacienda is a good map. They brought it back on Black Ops 6, and I like it in that map game too. It's just an overall well-designed map. 9th place is underrated. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. Wear a hat if you think I'm capping, because it's WMD. Do I have any clue what WMD stands for? Absolutely not. Where's my dildo? Maybe that's what it stands for. I don't know. But the map plays really, really well. I've always loved WMD. I love the different elevation points on WMD, the different snipers' nests on WMD. It's awesome. On top of that, it's a snow map, which is obviously really cool. The only downside to WMD that I can think of is the setting is super boring. It's literally just like a random facility. Like it's the most boring setting out there. But everything else about it, really cool. Coming in at 8th place is obviously yet again another Black Ops 1 remaster. They did that a lot with this game for some reason. Summit. Summit's awesome. If you don't like Summit, I feel like you're probably just not a Call of Duty fan. It's one of the better maps in Call of Duty history, and they've remastered it like 17,000 times at this point, but every time it comes back, it's a pretty fun map to play on. Is it getting a little bit overdone? For sure. Yeah, it's not like the best map ever. I don't know why they're bringing it back every single freaking Call of Duty Black Ops game, but it's overall still a fun experience, even on Black Ops 4. I don't know what else you could say about Summit that hasn't already been said already, but it's a fun map. And coming in at 7th place is going to honestly a very surprising one. I didn't think I was going to put it up this high, but then I started thinking about it more and more, and Frequency is a really good map. It's just a really well-designed, fun map on Black Ops 4. It's small, it's to the point, its design choice is obviously a little boring, but honestly not even that much, because you're like on a cliff, so you can like oversee the edges. I do think the idea of just like a random facility is a little bit boring, but the rest of the like actual like map design, everything is pretty cool. The only downside I can think of for Frequency is that it's like a horrible map if you're a sniper. Like Frequency is it's not even very close quarters, but it's very like medium quarters engagements. Coming in at 6th place is yet again another very fun map. I actually always kind of think of Hacienda whenever I think of this. Let's say smaller version of it though. Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal's another like base game map from Black Ops 4 that I think they nailed. Arsenal's very fun to play on. It's a well-designed map. I think they should bring it back at this point. Like, I don't know what they're waiting for. Arsenal for some reason has been just like shafted left, right, and center. But overall, it's a in my opinion, it's a great map to play. I have no downsides to Arsenal whatsoever. Like I said, it does kind of remind me of Hacienda. I know that's weird, but I don't know why. It just like plays similarly, I feel like. But it's good. The middle area of the map is fun. The vents, getting into the vents and like having like looking down on the middle is super cool. It's a good map. Coming in at 5th place and the final one for the amazing tier before we get into the best tier is Slums. Yes, Slums is a Black Ops 2 remaster, obviously, but Slums is a good map, yet again. It's just, again, like, I don't know what to say at this point. It's just, every time the Call of Duty Black Ops makes a good map, they remaster it 7,000 times after that. They're always like, okay, well, they want to see this map in every Call of Duty. They want to see it in freaking Rainbow Six Siege. You could be playing Rainbow Six Siege and you'll be playing on Slums. You'll be playing, like, Grand Theft Auto and somehow Slums will make its way in there. You could be playing Forza Horizon 5 and you'll be racing in the streets of Slums. They always remaster maps that are good, but that's okay because they are good maps at the end of the day. Slums is a very fun map. I do think it's slightly overrated with how much people love it, but I think it's still a really good experience. But now we are coming into the best tiers. So maps in these 4 final maps are, in my opinion, just peak maps, and it's ironic because every single one of these maps are remakes. Coming in at 4th place is Havana from Black Ops 1. They remade it for Black Ops 4. Havana has always been one of my favorite maps in the series, and the fact that they only remade it one time, in my opinion, was criminal because it's a really fun map, and the fact that they remade it only in Black Ops 4 and never again, like I said, in my opinion, is criminal. I love this map. It's so much fun to play on. It just plays so well. The middle street being like a no man's land, but also at the same time, both sides of it having its own little wars going on is absolutely perfect. It's just so, it's so well done. I want more maps like Havana. But coming in at 3rd place is, of course, going to Nuketown. I believe Nuketown is probably the most remastered map of all time. It was in Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, Black Ops Cold War, and Black Ops 6. And I'm pretty sure it was even in one of the World War II ones. I think it was in Vanguard, if I'm not mistaken. But it was in a lot of freaking Call of Duty games, pretty much. And in Black Ops 4, it plays just like Nuketown does, except for some reason, this Nuketown in particular feels a little bit more cramped than regular Nuketowns. Am I the only one that thinks that? Like, I feel like this Nuketown has, like, less space than normal. It's kind of weird. It's like there's a lot of, like, clutter and stuff going on this Nuketown. I don't know why. But coming in at 2nd place is a map that I think is just better than Nuketown, is more fun every sense of the way. Grind. Grind has always been one of my favorite freaking maps of all time. I ranked it really high in my Black Ops 2 ranking video, and I'm ranking it at 2nd place in this game. I freaking love Grind. Grind plays incredibly well. It's the perfect size, in my opinion. It's not too large, but not too small. The problem with Nuketown, where it's got the perfect size, you're always in combat, it's a good map in that sense. The only problem with Nuketown is there can be a lot of like little areas where people can just lock down lanes. Like there are ways that people can get on head glitches and just lock down lanes. Grind, while it does have that, it's nowhere near as bad as Nuketown's is, and it just plays overall, in my opinion, so much better. But if you know the process of elimination and you know Black Ops 4 maps, then you know that means 1st place, my favorite map in all of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, is Firing Range. Firing Range is incredible. It is truly just absolutely perfection. I do think this is probably speaking my favorite map in Call of Duty history. I don't know exactly, but it's one of them. It's very, very close to the top for sure. Firing range is just perfect. The size of it's perfect. The lanes are perfect. There are lanes where you can go if you want to be a sniper. The entire middle lane, as a matter of fact, is Sniper's Paradise. They snipe each other all the time there. But then it's like, it's awesome because the middle lane is Sniper's Paradise, but where the B flag is, the actual middle of the map, isn't really Sniper's Paradise. The Sniper's Nest, though, being that big tower in the middle that people can get up and get a great vantage point, is an awesome idea. There are parts where people can look down on the middle, but they're not like super overpowered and like head glitchy so that you can't get them off of it. You can get them off of it if you're a good enough player in the middle. The flanks are super awesome and super well thought out. The design choice is really cool, just like a firing range facility. Firing range is freaking perfect. I love it. It needs to be brought back way more than Nuketown should be. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video ranking all 34 Call of Duty Black Ops 4 maps from worst to best. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd like to see in the comment section down below. Obviously, next video is going to be another ranking all maps in a certain game video, but I don't know what game we're going to do. I was thinking about doing it on like World War II or maybe Vanguard, getting one of the ones that I haven't really played that much out of the way, because there are a couple of Call of Duty games where I really didn't play all the maps. Like this is one of them, as a matter of fact, where I didn't play all the maps, so there was a couple of them I had to go back and play them again. And so, you know, there's gonna be a couple others like that, like World War II, like I said, and Vanguard in particular. Those two I really didn't play that much. Also Infinite Warfare I didn't really play that much, so there might be a couple maps in that I'm forgetting. So yeah, there's definitely gonna be some forgotten maps for sure in some of these games, so I want to get those ones out of the way. But let me know what ones you want to see. What Call of Duty would you like to see to rank all the maps in next? I've been loving this series. I only have 7 subscribers, but it seems like you guys are loving this series too, so hopefully you guys are, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.